Yo, yo.
Ooh,
What up?
what's up, everybody?
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Welcome to another Root Access Live. We are your hosts. I'm your girl, Coco. I got my brothers to the left and the right, Mr. Root and Jinx. It's been a while.
In a
Few
So,
minute.
weeks.
we coming back strong and with so much, we haven't missed a week. It's so much to talk about, but we're going to get into it tonight. We're going to talk about Christian Cooper, Patrick Mahomes, Kanye, our fellow communications brother Charlemagne the God. But ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest is the living legend, Grammy Award winner, Mr. James Mtume. Yes, the
Ooh,
original.
good one.
Absolutely.
Yes, a song from him from a song that's been sampled millions of times or several times. Let's just say that, and it's your
Yeah.
favorite artist. So, guys, this is gonna be a good one. I want y'all to tune in. If you are on right now, share, like, and subscribe. Welcome. If you are new, thanks for tuning in to everybody. Now let's go through our social media drill. If you're new here, welcome to you, and please like, subscribe, and share to all our platforms at Root Access Live. Also, hit the share button right now, and thank you to everyone. We got to keep pushing this root or booted segment, guys. We're going to talk about that later on, but I want y'all to keep the music coming to Root and submit everything to Root Access Live. Again, all questions, concerns, and comments can be emailed to us at Root Access Live. With all that being said, Jinx, you ready? Root, you
I'm
ready?
ready.
Let's
I'm
go,
ready.
brothers. So, what's up? What's
What's
on
What
your
up,
going
man? It's
on?
been a minute.
It's
Look
been
at
a
y'all with
minute.
y'all baseball caps on. That's how we
I,
do it.
I actually miss you guys.
Isn't
Same
that
here.
crazy?
Same here. I didn't
Isn't
know
that
what to do
crazy?
with my time last Thursday. I was so excited. I felt like free.
I'm
I don't
telling
know how.
you.
I guess you all celebrated your holidays. I was, I watched social media. I saw you guys hanging out with your families.
I'm
Social
Juneteenth
distancing,
over here.
huh?
I'm Juneteenth. I'm not 4th of July. I'm Juneteenth.
Yeah, I just hung out. I ain't celebrate the holiday.
I
No.
totally get it. I'm with y'all. I still got my Juneteenth shirt around. I haven't worn it yet, and I'm still gonna wear it. But even though you didn't celebrate the holiday, you still celebrated the holiday. You enjoyed your day off with your family. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of y'all for doing that. I thought I was like, watch these boys stay in the house. Watch these guys stay in the house. They not gonna
Thank
nothing. But I'm proud of y'all.
you,
So
thank you,
anyway,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So let's get into it.
yeah, let's just get into it. Let's just go. Look, Christian Cooper. Let's talk about him first. Let's just get him out the way. Y'all know Christian Cooper, the black guy who filmed the white woman Karen calling the police on him while he was bird watching in Central Park back in May, has not cooperated with the Manhattan's district attorney investigation. So, what y'all thinking about that? I mean, he caused all this trouble, and now he's trying to like play it down, play it, or make it go away.
So here's the thing. I don't. He didn't cause trouble. He basically, he was a bird watcher. He's telling this lady, look, you need to leash your. You need to. Your dog shouldn't be here because this is a designated area for bird watchers.
Right.
Fine. And then she goes and says, don't talk to me. You have no right to tell me what to do. I'm gonna call 911 and let them know and tell them that a black man is harassing me. And I don't
Right.
even think she said harass. I wish I had the exact words because I actually wrote it down the other day.
Oh,
But
she
Threatening my
said
life.
you were
basically,
attacking me or something like that.
She said I'm
threatening my
going
life. He's
threatening my
threatening my
life.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, even when he went on the whole talk show circuit, even seeing him then, I think he was really trying to give this lady a pass. Oh, she suffered enough. Oh, I see people on social media. I'm a Christian man, right? I believe in compassion and all of that. But at some point, somebody needs to be held accountable. And this is what the district attorney is trying to do, make her accountable to where she can spend up to a year in jail to make things like this a crime. Because it
Right.
is a crime to wrongfully call the police on somebody because it could have easily, it's not without out of shadow of a doubt, it could have easily went another way had the cops come. And you're saying in Central Park at that. Let's not forget the history of Central Park. Do I need to show you? Do we need
Mm,
to show you the
mm,
shirt?
mm.
Central Park. I don't know if everybody can see it, but we already know what happened in Central Park in '89. So now you calling the cops. Thank God they didn't come. It was resolved. But now you need to be brought up on charges. Now that they want to bring her up on charges, Christian Cooper, who is the gentleman, decides, I don't want no parts of this. She suffered enough. To me, I think that's whack. I think he's talking about she suffered enough. No, she has not. And this is the problem. I don't know if it's a black thing. I don't know if we're just so compassionate. I don't know what it is, because something tells me if it was maybe some black thugs, Christian, would you have felt the same way? Because we seem to give a lot of compassion to other ethnic groups, but when it comes to our own people, do we have that same energy? So as for me, man, I feel like, he should have cooperated with the district attorney. I don't know.
I'm of a different mindset. I think that one of the words that I've heard a couple of the so I've heard him being called a sellout, and I've heard him being called a coon, right? And I personally, I don't believe that he's either. I think that he has the right to decide what he wants to do going forward. Because I mean, a lot of us will say, "Oh, this is what an individual should or shouldn't do," but we're not the ones in that position. So, having said that, what you or I might do may be different than what Christian is deciding to do. But I think that he has a right to decide. And if he feels like this woman losing her job and being dragged through the mud on social media and on news stations across the world, if he feels like that's enough, then that's his right to feel that way. It doesn't mean that he's a sellout. It doesn't mean that he's not, pro-black either. It just means that he feels that, this is enough. Whether you and I agree with that is a different story. Do I agree? Would I have said that? Probably not. I probably would have forked it over before they even asked me. But if I would have had the thought that the DA wanted to ask me for some evidence or whatever, I probably would have forked it over right away. But what I would do and what he would do are two different things. And I don't think that one makes anyone else better than the other.
No, it doesn't. And I agree with both of you. However, if you're going to start something in the middle of a movement, now you're going to digress and pull back. Like, then how are you going to set an example? What if it would have started there with the prosecution or with her or her being reprimanded? What if she was the Karen that it started with? Now you're going to back down. So everybody's going to have the hopes.
Yeah, man. That's whack.
Going to back down. No, we can't give them no breaks. Right now is not a time for breaks. And I mean, it's sorry to say, no, I never want someone to lose their job or livelihood, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You can't start something and not finish it. You can't go half-ass, excuse my language.
But I don't understand how you're saying that he is. Like, what did he do that is not finishing the job? He's been on CNN. He's been on ABC. He's been on NBC. He's been on CBS telling his story. He recorded it and released it. Like, he didn't say, "Oh, let me protect her from the public backlash." What he's saying is, at this point, is prosecution necessary? I'm not saying that I agree with him, but my problem is with the black community now turning against him. Like, come on.
It's not turning against him.
It's not turning against
holding him accountable. Holding him accountable because
what did he do wrong? He didn't do anything wrong.
Finish what you started.
What do you mean what he didn't do wrong? He's not.
What did he start?
If you're going to record somebody, that's evidence, correct? And if it goes to the court at all, you have to finish that out. So why back that now? Who's this? Why is enough now when she's going to be prosecuted and she may lose her job? She wasn't losing her job when she was threatening to lie on him and use weaponization against him. No.
Have to, though. But he doesn't have to. That's the thing. That's what people want him to do. But he does not have to do that. That's what the expectation of him is. But he does not have to do it, right? Because if he had to do it, he would be doing it. There is no law that states that you have to do this. It's not about whether we agree with him. It's simply about, he's a grown man and he's entitled to make whatever decision he wants to make. Again, I don't agree with the decision, right? I would not be doing this the same way. I would be giving the information to the prosecution. I would be cooperating and doing whatever they need me to do to make sure that this doesn't happen to somebody else. But just because he's not doesn't make me feel like he's less than, or, he's a sellout. Maybe how do we know that he doesn't have, some type of relationship with a higher power or whatever, and he really feels like this higher power is like, yo, this is enough. Like, don't do it. How do we know his reasoning behind it? You know, greater than I just feel like she's already gone through enough. Maybe he doesn't want to get into all of the other stuff, and he's not obligated to give anybody an explanation.
I mean, like I said, I agree and I disagree. But if you're going to go the mile, then go the extra mile and get it done. You know, how do you make an example out of these people? Are you going to let her think that it's okay? Like, I suffered enough and they let me go. When they put their foot on George Floyd's neck, did they say enough is enough? They didn't let that go.
I mean,
like,
I understand.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. You can do what you want to do. And if there is a higher being who told him to back down, then that's another crime, because you can't influence anybody under the court of law.
What I mean by a higher being, I'm talking about a spiritual deity. I'm not talking about like a person who is, I'm not talking about a person who is in authority in the court or from a police standpoint. I'm talking about, what if he prayed, right? So what if he prayed to somebody, whether it's God or whoever he believes in? What if he prayed and he really came to the resolve, like, I'm not going to do this because I don't feel led to do this. Like, we're questioning him on, and we're giving him we're saying that he shouldn't be doing what he's doing based on our emotional perspective. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it's just emotional though, Jinx. I think he has a responsibility, because this lady, she lied on him. She committed a crime. She said to the 911 operator, I'm going to tell him an African-American man is threatening my life. That's nothing to play with, man.
Right.
And she should be prosecuted. This is what I'm saying.
I agree with you.
By him being, he's the victim. So by him being the victim, it's almost like you getting beat up by your husband, and your husband is beating the hell out of you. But then when they go for you to testify, no, he's my husband. Then how do you expect us to help you now?
I agree.
So again, by him not stepping to the plate, this is a wash now, because now he's not stepping to the plate.
He doesn't have any credibility right now.
So it can be thrown out. And then, the next person this happens to, it can keep happening. It's a cycle. And in this climate that we're in, we need all hands on deck, and we need these types of laws in place for you, for me, for your son, for my cousins, my nephews, and this is what people do. Even when I went to the gun range, it's the same type of thing. You call in the cops. That's their weapon, to call the cops.
It's not
we've seen this time and time again where this gets out of control. So my thing is, she hasn't suffered enough. Like, you people need to be held accountable. We ain't saying kill her. Even maybe a year in jail is excessive, maybe, but she needs to be shook a little bit. Maybe she does need to do time, because again, these people use this as a weapon, the cops, and we already know.
I agree.
And it has happened on several occasions, and it has got young Black men killed. Emmett Till.
I agree.
Weaponization, like, no, enough is not enough. No, I mean, I think he needs to proceed in being involved in her prosecution.
What you just said is the point, though. What you just said, Cole, is the point. You think he doesn't. So are we going to demonize him because his thought is different than yours? Like, I think the same thing. I think that he should give the information to the prosecution. I think that he should go and do what they're requesting him to do. But I also understand that my thought is not Christian's thought. And I'm not going to demonize him or throw him out or call him an Uncle Tom or a coon or a sellout because he's not doing what I think he should do. Last time I checked, he's a grown man. He can make whatever decision he wants to. I'm okay with us disagreeing with him on not making the decision, but what I'm not okay with is us throwing him out. Like, oh, he's this, he's that, he's the third. That's what I'm not cool with.
Okay.
I don't agree with him.
Okay, scratch all the adjectives and the negativity about him. Would you trust him from now on? If he was in a group with you, if y'all were on a boat together and the ship was about to sail, would you trust him? No, his credibility is gone.
Why? Because he didn't.
Okay. All right. Maybe my metaphor didn't work. But anyway, we can agree to disagree on this all day.
We can agree to disagree.
Let's move forward. What's up with the NFL? How about the young boy Patrick Mahomes, though?
Yo,
That's
Billy.
dope. That's
Have
dope.
with Billy.
You had to
Mahomes
switch
is my
it up a little
homie.
bit.
Mahomes is my homie right now.
My homie.
My
Cousin.
homie. $450 million. I think once it's all said and done with bonuses, $503 million for over a 10-year period. It's the biggest contract in sports history. Not just not just football. It's the biggest contract in sports history. And he's
And how much
24 years old.
$500 million?
Yeah, $503
$500
million.
million.
If he hits the certain benchmarks that he has to hit, $503 million. Do y'all know that he's gonna make the contract doesn't start right now, it starts in 2 years. But so at the age of 26 or 27, depending on where he is in his time being 24. Right, I know, right? Hey cousin, right?
Right. Hey,
cousin. right. He at the age of 36, 37, his contract will be up. And he will have made after taxes somewhere around $325 million. Like he will have made that. And we're not even talking about the endorsements that he's going to get. Because within the next 10 years, Patrick Mahomes is going to win another Super Bowl. I guarantee you that. So something else is going to happen for him. When this contract is over and he retires, bro, his kids, and his cousins.
For those of you who are just tuning in, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes. And if you don't know who Patrick Mahomes is, he is the young fella who just won MVP in the last Super Bowl. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, correct?
Correct.
Sorry, we didn't introduce him. We just went right into it, assuming that you all knew. But that's
who thank you for that, Cole.
Young black male, 22. How old is he?
24. And he comes from money because his father is Patrick Mahomes as well, and he played Major League Baseball.
But wait, let me drop this on you. He did come from money, but Patrick Mahomes Sr. played in the league for 10 years. Okay. He made within those 10 years, he made a little bit over $2.6 million within those 10 years.
That's it?
Wait, that's it?
That's it.
And remember, this son making how much?
His dad's gonna make. Well, he makes more than his. Well, he doesn't make more than his dad right now, but in 2 years he will. In 2 years, his salary for the year will be $45 million. You heard me correctly. $45 million in a year.
$45 million.
But you got to remember when his dad was playing, money wasn't like it is now.
Right.
So you making $500,000 a year. You making $350. I'm sorry. You making $500,000 a year, $350,000 a year with good money at that time when his dad was playing.
I mean, his dad must not have been a high caliber player because Reggie Jackson and Dallas Strawberry, they were making great money.
Yeah, because
he was a relief pitcher or something like that. He wasn't like a high profile cat, but still, listen, I'm not making $350,000 a year right now. So
that's true. That would be very nice.
So if $350,000 a year right now is still good, it was great then.
Great.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. The cost of living has such changed. I'll tell you that.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
So but kudos to him. Shout out to that young man. I hope that he stays focused because a lot of the times we get these young men, and we're gonna go into that one too. Your boy, we're gonna talk about the Eagles, but a lot of these young men, they get this money and they go off the rockers. They get this mentality or they get this ego that they can't be touched, and then they go left and then they lose everything.
Man, if you blow that kind of money, man, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I mean, stranger things have happened, but gee whiz.
Right. It's happened. You've seen it happen to rappers, singers, So, they just
we talked about Allen Iverson a couple of weeks ago, and remember he was crying broke too.
Yeah. Thank God for that trust. That Reebok trust. See, you need stuff like that way you can't touch. Everybody should do that. Get money they can't touch until they're 50 years old.
But when we started talking about it, it kind of put me in the mind of Allen Iverson as well. So I was thinking that he had great financial influence.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right. Well, guess what? It looks like we got a guest coming on. He's here, huh? I'm reading the comments. I'm being nosy. Jinx, you there? You see that a little bit? But I guess until we can get Jinx back, we got a guest coming up, y'all. And the guest that we got coming up is so dope. Y'all probably don't even know how to pronounce his name. We do because we had to practice it. We've been hyped up for this for a minute. We even had to check Jinx a couple of times during the meeting to make sure we got his name right. But this man's music has been sampled so many times, y'all. Y'all gonna go crazy when he come on and we start.
Listen, we might as well just go there.
Yeah, I mean, why not? So this one music was about something. Look, 2
Yeah, you
minutes,
hear that?
with a minute, over a minute worth of instrumental, and you can feel every piece of it.
Everything. You hear those drums? You hear the bass? So many people have sampled this
And
from the
it
lights.
put you in the mood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care where you are, how old you are, generation to generation. This beat, when this beat come on, it's gonna get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
8 to 80, I'm telling you. And I
Yep.
believe Mr. Mtume is in his 70s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but how y'all doing?
Welcome,
Mr.
sir.
Mtume, how are
It's a
you?
pleasure to have you here.
It's
You
an
make
honor. It's an honor to be with y'all. You know what I mean?
welcome
Oh,
to
man.
Root Access Live.
This is what I love. Intergenerations. I don't talk to old people. I'm already old. I like to talk to young people.
I know that, right?
You dig?
I love it. First of all, Mr. Mtume, your voice is legendary, not just from music, but I love your music. But
Yes, sir.
man, when I tell you open line,
Oh,
oh
you
man,
you
Yeah.
really know. Okay.
I'm a native New Yorker, so
Oh, I dig.
Sunday mornings, man. I mean, I look forward to it. And then once I moved, actually moved to the Philadelphia area.
I'm from
And
Philly.
you're from Philly originally, correct?
South
Yes.
Philly, yeah.
Yep. And then when I would go home for the weekend and come back, my wife already knows I'm turning on an open line until we don't got the line no more. Until we get almost to PA and it cuts off. So man,
So that
thank
was
you so much.
right?
WBLS. Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Get back.
So I always like to start when I have artists like you. We had Robert Cool Bell on a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, my man.
Yeah, it was great talking with him, man. And we spoke to Coco from SWV and 112. Really great groups.
I produced both of them for the segment on New York Undercover, SWV and 112.
Look at that! Wow,
Yeah,
I didn't even know
I
that.
scored the music for that in New York. I don't know if y'all remember that. That's an old show.
Yes,
but-
sir.
Oh yeah, Malik
Okay, I
Yoba.
remember that show.
Absolutely.
So I like to start in the beginning, man, with you. I think even before your group, you toured with Miles Davis
5 years, brother.
for 5 years. What was
Greatest.
that like? One of the greatest musicians, period. What was that like in the beginning?
Well, brother, that was my education. You know, I played with all the great jazz musicians, Sonny Rollins, Herbie Hancock, Freddie Hubbard, and all them. But when I got with Miles, that's when I began to understand the Zen aspect of music. And what do I mean by that? He would tell me things like, what you don't play is more important than what you play. Leave space. Never go back. He said, don't have a rearview mirror. If you don't have a rearview mirror, you can't even look back. Always go forward. So those little lessons that I was able to apply later, you know, stop playing what you know. Start playing what you don't know. What's that mean? You got to figure it out. Magic, man.
Wow. And then how did you apply that from, I guess, working with a jazz musician to form your group? Because when you hear Juicy Fruit, man, it's immediately those drum patterns, that bass.
Yes, sir.
It's totally different, I guess, from jazz, but maybe not so.
Yeah, but I have to take you back. You know, I starting out as a jazz musician, I went from that, and then I started writing contemporary popular music. First song I ever wrote was called "The Closer I Get to You" by Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway.
Whoa!
Right? And then Back Together Again. And then I produced and wrote the first 4 Stephanie Mills albums. What You Gonna Do With My Lovin', Never Knew Love, Phyllis Hyman, You Know How to Love Me. So I was doing all that to build up to my band. So I was behind the scenes. So when I came out of the scenes, I already had my concept together. You dig?
Wow.
I was well prepared.
Well prepared. And you know what? I do my homework. I did not know you did The Closer I Get to You.
Yes, sir. And Back Together.
Wow. And Back Together with her and Donny Hathaway.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, you getting nice publishing checks, guys. Nice publishing checks.
What you call it? Credits. That's what
Credit.
you're
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You right, sister.
That's right. Now, I know before we came on, you were probably listening to us and we were talking about generations and generations. How do you feel when you hear Juicy from generation to generation? Like that song has been sampled several times by several different artists, correct?
Yes.
How do you feel?
How do I feel?
You don't talk to old people.
No, I don't. No need. I'm old. How did I feel? Well, let me tell you how it started. I was doing, like I said, I was a musical composer for New York Undercover, which was then co-produced by Andre Harrell. Mm-hmm. And one day I was in Andre's office, we were meeting, and Andre said, look, Toombs, Puff wants to talk to you. So Puffy came in, and he said, Toombs, I want you to meet my new artist. He said, his name is Biggie Smalls. So he brings Biggie in, and he said, look, man, I want to sample Juicy Fruit. So, and I say this all the time, unlike most people where you got to go back and forth, we did a 1.5 page agreement. I said, you get $1, I get 50 cents. And that's
wow.
So I love the interpretations of the next generation. And that song kind of propelled us into the next generation, man. And I respect it. I'm honored by it, man. You know, a lot of the old heads, they rejected rap. You know, that was not my case at all. I'm into each generation has its own music. So I've only been very fortunate and very honored that my music has transferred into y'all's generation and beyond. I particularly like Keyshia Cole's version, Let It Go.
Ah.
Yeah, her Missy. I think that's my favorite. I mean, Biggie put it on the map, but what they did was very interesting because they added to it.
Okay.
So
and none of the
I don't think you
lyrics
guys
offend you at all, right?
I'm sorry.
None of the lyrics offend you when it's over your beats.
Sister, I'm not into that. You know, it's hard to offend me with words. I mean, that's what you feel. Express yourself.
Absolutely.
I think
the song said, express yourself.
I think it has to be said that the singer of Juicy Fruit is on right now, to Miss Tawatha. Like we just got to give props.
Tawatha Agee. I think one of the greatest voices in Black music. I mean, and you got to understand, she's as a background singer, she's worked with everybody: David Bowie, Al Green, Aretha Franklin, you know, Dave Matthews, Lenny Kravitz.
Wow,
everybody, man, everybody.
Extensive resume.
She's a start. She's her start.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Now, Mr. Mtume, you like I said, you are so musical, but your mind, especially when it comes to politics and things of that nature, very, very opinionated, and you give great thoughts.
Thank you very much.
What are your thoughts? You're welcome. What are your thoughts on Kanye West? Now it's talking about he's running for president. He's always in the news every couple of weeks. He's a MAGA supporter. Now he's running for president. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if I have a thought as much as I have an instinct. My instinct is he got a new record coming out. He's always got something to drop before that. To be very honest, I don't take it very seriously. I think it's very opportunistic. I mean, next week he'll be running for God. I mean,
right.
You know, so let's be clear. Politics is a very serious adaptation. You know, and I'm also, and I'm sorry if you let me go a little bit. I'm also very clear about, as Black people, we got to stop just giving our vote to Democrats without demanding something from them. Okay. I say left wing or right wing, it's on the same bird. What do we get from it? They get 96% of the Black vote. That's with or without Barack. We always voted Democrat since the 60s. And we got to start thinking independently, and it'll come from your generation. We've got to be more discerning and not just say the lesser of two evils. We don't need two evils. We need something established. I don't care who's going to give it to us, but let's negotiate so we get something from it. And I'm sick of that. I mean, here we got Joe Biden hiding in the basement. I mean, where they at? What are they giving us? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if we don't ask those questions, every other ethnic group demands something from the party they vote from, except Black people.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I know.
And then they never have to address us. Most of the cities having most of the problems are run by Democrats. You're from New York. I'm from Philly, Washington, Baltimore, you know, LA. I mean, they don't really deal with addressing us because we don't demand nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go off on that, but I think it's
no apologies necessary, sir.
Okay,
no
okay, thank you, sister.
No, it's definitely the truth. A pleasure meeting you, sir. Definitely the truth. I've been on the front lines. I'm originally from New Jersey, but
what part?
I live in originally from Plainfield, New Jersey.
From P-Funk.
Okay.
Yeah, P-Funk.
Yeah. So I since moved to Delaware, and I've been on the front lines protesting and talking with different legislators. And one of the things that I paid attention to, and I looked at the civil rights movement if you look from 1954 to 1968, I'm very interested in what was taking place there. So I went back and I started doing some research. And what I found was that.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Did we lose him? Oh, I hate that because he had a great.
Yeah, he was in the middle of something deep too. I mean,
yeah, he always is.
So but I think, if I may, not speak, brother, maybe add to where I think he's going. I think he's dealing with the word agenda. Black people have not had an agenda since 1963. Now, what do I mean by that? In 1963, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, went to Martin Luther King and all the leaders of the civil rights movement and told them, if you vote for me, I'll give you a civil rights bill. They did that and got a civil rights bill in 64. We, as Black people, we haven't had an agenda since 1963.
Yeah.
We had a wish list, but we haven't had an agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you dig what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. We get the vote together and the run.
I think that was. Go ahead, Coco.
No, I was just saying we get all the votes together, and as Democrats, we run. But like you said, we got to have an agenda so that we can get things done in each house, and as it goes up from municipal to federal.
Now, I'm going to say something that I hope your listeners will understand. Like, even under President Obama, the group that gained the most from that was the gay community. I applaud them for it because they had an agenda.
Yeah.
We didn't. And we were so pleased with having a Black president, we didn't have a demand on him.
Yeah.
And if you ain't gonna have a demand on the Black president, what you think the white one's gonna do?
Yeah.
Right. Nothing. No pressure it's no pressure at all on them.
That's a great point. Great point.
Absolutely.
Before you came on, Mr. Mtume, we were talking about Christian Cooper. He was the bird watcher in Central Park. Who?
Right. The brother that had the Karen incident.
Yeah, there you go. The Karen incident. Yes. So the DA wants him to cooperate because they said what she did was a crime, but he opted not to, saying that she suffered enough, whether it's through social media, whether it's through the media as a whole. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he should cooperate, or what do you think?
Well, I think that's his personal decision, and I would respect that. But let's ask this question: had he been on the scene when them cops arrived, he may have a different position. You dig? Because he may not be walking around.
Right.
Yeah.
He may have been arrested or beaten or worse. Right. So if that's his decision, I understand it. But look, I don't take these things lightly. But I think because now we have some cameras everywhere, you get documented. It's so much of that. And my biggest fear, what Trump is doing right now, is trying to really drive a wedge in this country. And it's going to be between Black and white, like he's just called the Black Lives Matter terrorist organization. We're getting ready to head into an election that I think is going to be one of the most bizarre, but one of the most important. Yes. And the question is, what are we going to get at the end? What demand? And your generation is the generation I'm looking to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we had our primaries the other day in the state of New Jersey. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey.
Yes.
We had our primaries the other day, and I'm really grateful and I'm happy that the way the results turned out, because I've been pushing it, and on every platform, I've been trying to push it. So I just think that was the steering wheel to get us on the right path, to get us to November. And once November comes, hopefully we have these same results. You guys get up, you get out, no excuses. Like, we have to turn this thing around.
Turn it around and make a demand. Because if the
Absolutely.
Democrats win, what do they owe us?
Right.
They will owe us their victory, but
Right.
what do we get in return?
Right.
Yeah.
Agenda. We got to have the agenda, man. And all this is music. It's rhythm and melody. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Rhythm and melody.
In the context of politics.
Yeah.
Jinx is back. Jinx, I felt like you had a very, very great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were in it.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing the best. I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight.
Yeah, this has never
I'm
happened.
apologetic tonight. But so what I was talking about, sir, is the civil rights movement from 1954 to 1968,
Okay.
where a lot of what we are protesting for, meeting about now, are the same things that we were, not we, but our forefathers were
Yes.
protesting and meeting about then.
Mm-hmm.
What is the reason that you feel that we still haven't gotten the things that we need, and we're still having to protest and meet about? Why? What is the reason that you feel we're still in the same position?
Well, I don't know, brother, if you were able to hear our discussion when you was offline, but I was talking about the word agenda, and that's the word that's been missing. Let me break this down real quick, if you give me a second. My parents was the generation, the civil rights generation, and I call that the generation of social disobedience, sit-ins, boycotts. My generation, I'm 60s, so I'm Black Power. We were the generation of social disruption. Your generation is the generation of social information, which is much more valuable. I mean, y'all write something, press send, it's all over the world, man.
Yeah.
You have tremendous power that we couldn't even have dreamed of. But the question is, what are you fighting for and what are you demanding? And to address your point, it's almost like, if I understand you correctly, brother, you're saying it seems that we're going fighting over the same thing.
Same thing.
Because it hasn't been resolved. We haven't been united. We've got so many factions. I mean, one thing, I always make this statement: white people can disagree on 99 things, agree on one, how to keep their foot on our neck. We can agree on 99, disagree on one, and don't talk to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got it backwards. We got it backwards.
Yeah.
We don't need 100% of anything, but give me 100% of the 5% that you agree with me or anybody that you like. But it's about an agenda, and I want that to be more clear to our listeners than anything else. And if you don't do that, brothers and sisters, what are you doing? You're just giving a vote. And the Democrats understand that. Now, back in the 60s, I'm old enough to know when Kennedy came in, prior to the 60s, 1960, blacks voted Republican. Eisenhower. The Democrats brought something in the 60s, but this is not the same Democratic Party.
Right.
They're not fighting for us, man, but we give in to them. I have an old saying. I say, success needs no explanation. Failure can never be explained. So if we're not successful, why do we keep failing at coming together for an agenda?
Right. So
That's
when we
the
pray
question
for
we
the
gotta ask.
victory, what do we expect?
Go to
If
the
you
expect.
look,
If we pray for the victory and we win, then what's next?
right?
How do we follow through with it?
Yeah, we watch everybody else pole vault, and we still hurdling.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like we can never get on the same page with not only ourselves, but with society. It's like we are always behind a proverbial 8 ball, and we've got to figure out how we can get in front of it. And one of the things that you said, sir, was having an agenda. And a lot, and I'm pro-black. I love the skin that I'm in, and I love my black brothers and sisters. And one of the things that I find for many of us is, I have a question, and it's a touchy question, but the question is, do we really want change, or do we just want to make noise? Because if we're going to go after change, if we're going to really go after change, it's about having an agenda, like you said, sir. Because once we get their attention, we got to be able to talk about something. A lot of times we make noise, But then when we get their attention, they recognize that we don't have nothing to talk about, so they don't take us seriously.
See,
Right.
that's
Exactly.
a great point. And since we talking now, I'm saying
Talking.
what white people understand about black people, be clear about this, is that we're episodic. And what I mean by that is we respond to episodes. We be mad, for 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, and then they know it'll dissipate. Okay, you have Trayvon Martin. Oh, we're gonna be mad, we're gonna march. And let me ask you a question. Why is it that we only get mad when a white cop kills us? We're killing each other every day by the hundreds. Where's the march for that? See, that's the mirror I'm saying we got to start looking at. I didn't know we was going to go here, but I'm glad we're here.
No, but if we're going to use Black Lives Matter, make Black Lives Matter.
Hey, man,
all aspects.
Father's Day weekend, 112 shootings, 14 deaths in Chicago. Philadelphia just had 6 murders day before yesterday. What does that say about us? Are we looking in our own mirror? And why do we only respond when it's a white person killing us? There's something about a pathology that we got to look at for ourselves, man.
Self-respect. If we're not respecting ourselves, then how do we expect the next person or the next race to accept us or to respect us?
There it is.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. My wife said something yesterday, and she was talking about how it's almost as if we are set up systematically. There's no almost in it. We are set up systematically to fail, and many of us have fallen victim to that setup. Now, just because you've been set up for something doesn't mean you have to go that way. You still have the choice to change it. But one of the things that she said was when you talk about this whole black on black crime thing, because one of the things that we know is every race kills their race. We know that to be factual. Yeah. But the reason why,
but not in the percentage, bro, just one second. I want you to go on, but not in the percentage that we do to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And this is the reason why my wife was onto something, I believe, when she said this, because she said that if you look at the projects and you look at the hoods and you look at the ghettos, it's almost as if we are systematically placed around each other, and there is no other ethnic group around us. And so you're facing each other each way. That you're gonna, this is why I believe that black on black thing, like everything else, was systematically set up. Because if you put a bunch of black people in the same community, there's nobody else there. So yes, black on black crime is going to be prevalent. But if there were other ethnic groups in that same community, we wouldn't be singing the same song. But systematically, we are all kind of set up to be in the same place.
No, that's an excellent point, my brother. And again, first of all, I totally agree. But my point is, why is it that we never march for the young black people, young black sisters and brothers who are killed every day by ourselves, but we only march and get irate when it's a white person killing us? You know what? I woke up one day, and this really hit me hard. I could name Trayvon, I could name Brother Brown from Ferguson, and then I started thinking, I can't name the black people who are killed by black people because we don't really care about that. Yeah. We don't talk about that.
I think we're numb to it. We're immune to it.
My brother, we're anesthetized. It's like when you go to the dentist, he's going in your mouth, but he gives you that hit. You don't feel nothing. So we're anesthetized to hurting each other. We don't feel it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point. You definitely do. Something else we were talking about today that happened on 5th Avenue, the Black Lives Matter mural, right smack in front of Trump Tower. Do you think it's just a statement to be made to kind of just stick it to him, or do you think it's significant?
I think it's significant because it is a statement to hit him. My point is, remember I brought up that point of episodic? We got to see how long this lasts. Because always understand this. Every motion or every action has a reaction. Now, the right wing is going to start to come back, with their position. Right now, we've had the airwaves for the Black Lives Matter for the last 3 months.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, worldwide, this was, and that was the thing that was so encouraging to me, because when in the 60s, when we were doing what we were doing, it was primarily just the black community. This is the first time I've ever seen all these ethnic groups come together, man. So there's a whole nother rhythm going on, and I attribute it to hip hop. When you get out of hip hop, white kids, I mean, y'all are their heroes, you know. But we got to see how long it lasts, brother. I don't get impressed with something when it starts. I got to see, where's this going to be 6, 7, 8 months from now?
Yeah,
that's a great thing. That's what I'm talking about.
We,
like right there, because
we a lot of times we become prisoners of the moment. Whatever's happening, man, this is gonna go on forever.
Yes,
you know, and then it fades out. Like I told you, white people are looking at the clock. Well, I'll see. I bet this ain't gonna last for how long. It's how long you continue to struggle, not when you started.
We got to do the duration. We got a big election coming up in 2020.
Look, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. It's not a 100-yard dash.
Exactly.
That's right.
And once we get that victory, we're going to follow through. And I'm going to let y'all hold me to this. Whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it.
That's right. That has to be the attitude, Cole. That has to be the attitude. Like whatever, you know, back in the day, they swore by their slogan, by any means necessary. Absolutely. That's what they live by. Right. We don't have that. And that is why, you know, when I was going in and out with my internet, I heard you talking to everyone about the Christian Christian guy from Christian Cooper from here. Right. And that's where I think his issue is, because he's not in that mind frame by any means necessary. Right. That's my problem with him right now. I'm not going to bash him for not doing it. Like was said, it's his decision, whatever he does.
Right, exactly.
But that is not the by any means necessary approach, and that is going to keep us stuck. That's going to keep us, because here he has an opportunity to do what needs to be done, and he's deciding not to. So I do agree with you all on that point.
He was the line leader. He started off as leadership, and now he's like falling back. So you know, it's not a good situation.
If he was leadership as much as he was a point of focus. See, leadership is a whole nother other thing.
Wow.
And we got to stop appointing people leadership who are not qualified to be leaders. They may be the focus of an issue, but that doesn't make them the leader.
Correct.
And that's a very important thing to remember. We give leadership away like it's Carter's little liver pills. There's too many of them, you know. Yeah. And one of the things that is going to happen, I'm just going back a little bit, for your generation, is that the older generation that I come from has got to get off the stage and give y'all the baton. There's not enough baton passing in our community. I mean, the same people that were on the stage 40, 50 years ago are still on it. You cats are the voice. Yeah. And it's time that we listen to what y'all have to say. I learned talking to young people. I don't just talk to y'all just because I want to impart what I know. I talk to y'all so I can learn what you know and bring that into my equation. If that makes sense.
A couple of my girlfriends and I were talking about that the other day, and we were talking about how the leadership in our county is older, you know, 70s going into the 80s. And we're not seeing anyone who's at, you know, even putting any young people putting themselves in the position of leadership. And at the same time, some of these older folks aren't taking kids under their wings either to bring them in the position for leadership.
They don't pass the baton, sister. And every other ethnic group does that. And we got to stop being so dependent on what I call charismatic leadership. Whoever can speak the best is the leader. No, we need organizational leadership. It's just
that's what it is.
Every 4 years, you vote for what? A new president.
Yes.
The name may change, but the office goes on forever. We don't have that. We've got to start dealing with institutional leadership, not charismatic.
You know what? That speaks to when you go to college, the degree that you get is not charismatic leadership. It's organizational leadership. That's your degree. So that's a great point. That is your degree. Your degree is in organizational leadership, because honestly, you can't be a leader if you can't organize. You just can't. You just can't. And I love what you said, sir, about a lot of people who think their leaders are just the focus, but they're not the leader. We have so many focal points in the forefront, and the blind is leading the blind. And we keep going around the same mountain because the blind is leading the blind. And everything that you have said is so true. We get caught up in the moment. We get caught up in the emotionalism. We get caught up in the fad. We get caught up in the wave, but we're missing the point.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because that's the problem. We're missing the point. Go ahead, Root.
No, and no, speaking of leadership, the man in the White House is not good leadership whatsoever. And it's like a trickle-down effect. Mr. Mtume, I don't know if you heard about the young man. His name is Vox Booker. He's from Indiana. He's from Indiana, and he was walking through a park the other day.
Yes, sir.
And in that, he came across some white guys, and they're like, "What are you doing here? This is our property."
Yeah.
You know, we're on the verge of a civil war. This is our property. What are you doing? And so he's going back and forth. He's like, all right, I'll move. I'm walking on another trail. He ends up back in their view, and they going back and forth at him. Y'all, you nappy head, you nigga. They grab him and try to pin him to a tree.
See.
So now it's like we're trying to lynch this dude. It's all on video. Thank God he had some white friends with him that were allies, and they're recording this. They called the cops. The cops go straight to the white guys first.
See,
don't even take his statement, and now under investigation. I mean, there's so many stories like this. Another one in Philly, where you're from. I'm 20 minutes away.
Yes, sir.
The guy is going past because there's a restaurant open, and he's just like, "All right, nobody's social distancing. This is crazy." He's just talking out loud now.
Right.
The owner of the restaurant pulls out his gun.
What?
On him. And like, so the girl or another white ally gets in front of the gun. What are you doing? Put the gun away. This is effing crazy. Again, we have some allies out there, but this is perpetuated by the man in the White House.
Oh, yeah, that's his strategy for re-election.
It's a strategy.
Divide it and take his base and have his base turn out. And what you're going to have to watch, what we have to watch out for, is how many polling places around this country are going to be closed, and how they're going to try to disallow voting, by mail. See, these are the challenges we got to look out for, man. But
and they're going to be closed in very specific areas.
Yeah.
Well, even during the primary this year,
look what happened in Georgia.
We had mostly mail-in ballot, and if you went to a polling place, then you had to do a provisional ballot. So it's really the same thing. We're going to definitely have a struggle, and if we don't prepare from the primaries to get to the general election, we're going to have trouble.
And I'm glad you brought that up, sister, because I tell everybody I talk to, don't just assume that the Democrats are going to win. That's how it feels now. Between now and November in politics, that's 30 years in politics. We never thought, look, in January, we couldn't have thought that we'd be sitting here talking about a virus and a social movement.
No, never.
Anything can happen between now and November. So be clear about that, man. But again, more than anything, the agenda. And it's time for you guys to get the baton.
Right.
I've done what I had to do. 73. I got more to do. But y'all are the energy. You're the gas. I'm the car. My generation.
Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere without no gas. You did?
Yeah. And that's a good point, because like you said, if we don't have an agenda, Trump didn't have an agenda. He got the victory. He just wanted to run. He got the victory, and he's like, now what? I'm just going to win.
You know what he had?
And I don't think he thought he was going to win.
He didn't even have a speech prepared for the night that he won. So he wasn't prepared, and now he looks stupid, and that's not what we want as Democrats. If we're going to fight to the end, and we got to have an agenda.
That's absolutely right. And we also have to understand politics now has been so immersed and interwoven with social media and popularity. It's missing the concept of qualification. Look, if I want to be a lawyer, I got to know something about law. I want to be a doctor, I got to know something about medicine. To be a politician today, you ain't got to know nothing about it. Except
isn't that crazy?
Have a large following, You know, and that's why we talk about Kanye. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can tell by his cabinet. I mean, Betsy DeVos. Why is she ahead of education?
Yeah.
You know, Ben Carson.
Because her brother ran Blackwater, the private army. Her brother ran Blackwater.
Yeah. I want to circle back to music a bit.
You want to go back to that?
Yeah, because no, we got Mtume on. People gonna want to hear some music stuff.
I'm with you, brother.
I never thought I'd be that guy. I'm 44 years old. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and some of the music that I hear, I'm just like, my grandfather used to say, "Man, what you listening to? That's junk."
Right.
And now some of it I hear, I'm just like, "Dang, am I turning into my grandfather?" What do you think about some of the music today? And it doesn't have to be hip hop. I mean, even R&B, but it's something about I kind of grew up in the 90s.
And you missed the heart.
Yeah, missed the heart. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
I've been saying this since I first got into it in the 80s. I had a song called Deep Freeze, and one of the lyrics was, to white people, you want R&B, but not for me. And it's more evident now than ever. It's not that R&B is dying. It's that they don't sign black artists to do R&B. R&B now is all white kids. You know what I mean? Think about it. I mean, it's not that R&B is dead. It's dead for young black people being signed. Wow. Other than Usher, who's been around for a long time, name me 3 other black R&B male, especially male singers. You can't name them. But you can name Justin Timberlake. What's the boy from England?
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
A bunch of names. But they're not signed. And my position was always the white controlling elements of the music industry always wanted to basically control black music without having to deal with black people. And we're seeing it now. It began with the disillusion of black music departments. We used to have actual departments. That's gone. Black executives, that's gone.
Yeah.
So you're going to sign what you know. White people know white people.
Right. Monetization.
But here's the contradiction. They're not signing no black rock acts. So you did, since Living Color, I don't know, name me 2 rock black bands. It's not because black bands can't play rock. They don't sign them.
We invented rock.
We invented everything.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they stole our stuff.
Yeah, so that's my feeling on that. And addressing your point, like I said earlier, brother, I come to the conclusion each generation has its music. Now, you said you feel funny now at 40-something when you was playing what you was playing, and your parents would say, "Wait, what's that?" I had the same thing, because I came up in a jazz household. So if it wasn't, Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker, man, what you listening to? It was this little richer guy, you know what I mean? And I think that's a generational thing. But I do agree that a lot of the quality is missing, and a lot of the experimentation that we did, like you were playing Juicy. I mean, when Juicy came out, that was very different. You related to the beat. That was probably the first time that a black artist ever used a drum machine. That's a drum machine.
Yeah, yes.
That's a Lin. And we weren't using that, but I was always into experimenting, Also, that album was mixed with no reverb. So when you hear that song, it comes right in your face. As soon as you hear that first couple of beats, you know what it is. And it's also about artists having an identity. We don't have that anymore. We sign artists who sound like the other artists.
Correct.
Back when we were coming up, you had to have your own sound, your own signature. If I had walked in with a demo sounding like Earth, Wind, and Fire, I've been laughed out the joint. Right. So it's too much what I call sound alike, Yep.
And
we got to
think that's the biggest problem.
We got to everything's starting to sound very much the same. I think that's the point you make it.
Yes.
Even in rap, the voices aren't that distinct anymore.
No, they all sound the same. You're absolutely right.
And you guys would know better than I. I'm just an old cat commenting. But I knew the difference between Chuck D and KR and the rest of them. But today, I mean, plus they all
can't tell the difference.
Machine. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
For distinction, you got to have your own voice. See, you can have a hit. A hit will get you there, but having your own sound will keep you there.
Wow.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
So I want to take my question back earlier because I was just thinking about it. I asked you if the lyrics were offensive from other artists, but now that I think about the lyrics on Juicy,
Oh my God,
I'm gonna have to take that back.
that's right. So
Yes.
I'll give you a little backstory on that. When I first took the album, they didn't want to release the album. They didn't want to release that song as a single because it said it was too risque. Now today you can lick me everywhere. That ain't nothing compared to some of the stuff I hear now.
Right.
My point, generationally, back then, that was a problem. I had to fight to get that record played. I had to fight with the record company.
Wow.
Yeah. See, you see,
Yeah, but you're right. You early 80s, that was very
risky. Man. What no record ever said that. And we singing it. That was, now you can rap anything. But again, that kind of opened up the door for that kind of stuff. So you're right, sister. I can't talk about nobody's lyrics.
You said I'm on my business. That don't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Well, speaking of lyrics, Mr. Mtume,
yes, sir.
We have a game that we play every week with our artists called Talk It, Sing It. And basically, you hear a song and you hear it with the music and you know it. But without the music, with just lyrics, people get stumped. So basically, I'm going to talk the lyrics of a song. And when you guess the song, you can let us know the song and the artist.
Well, I'll probably fail this, brother, because I haven't been listening to music. Most of my listening these days is jazz, but go ahead.
Yeah. But I was fair to you. I picked artists, that you worked with and, stuff like that.
Okay. Hopefully I remember. I'm a little senile, but
all right. So what kind of girl do you think I am? It's too soon. Can't you understand? I'm not the kind of girl who has to lay you down before I fall in love. It's been kind of relaxed here waiting, but baby, you got to slow down.
It's something I did.
Did you do this? Well, you did. You did at least three of this person.
You worked with the artist.
You worked with the artist on 3 albums for a long time.
Stephanie?
Yes.
What put a little rush on me?
Well, see, I didn't write that.
You didn't write that?
Angela Winbush. She wrote that on that album. That's why I was. Oh, wait a minute. So you got I give credit. That was Angela Winbush on that album.
Angela Winbush is a beast too on the writing.
Oh man, come on, man. Don't know. Did you know that Angela Winbush and Tuatha were in the same group at Howard called Hot Tea?
I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't. Look at me. I'm getting my pen out now.
That's where I met Tuatha because we were doing a demo, Reggie and I, for Hot Tea, and I heard this voice. Oh my God,
That's great. Thanks. You were off, but Tuatha, the singer of Juicy Fruit, is on watching right now in the comments.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh
yeah.
She's terrible.
Yeah,
tell her she's awful.
He said it, not us.
Right. She can hear you.
Look, that's my heart. That's my heart.
Yes. All right. Well, I got one more song.
We gotta show her a comment.
Hey.
What she said?
She said, "Hey," with a bunch of hearts.
Back at her.
All right, I'm gonna be easy on you. One more song.
All right.
That's it. All right.
Give me a break, man.
All right. You know very well who you are.
Oh my God, Juicy. Now you got look, brother. You ain't got to be that easy. You can come a little harder.
Actually, you know what's crazy? This is the Tamar Braxton version.
Yeah,
but she started off with those words. So you got it.
Our original one was "You know very well what you are."
You are. She said who you are.
Yeah. You're my sugar thing, my chocolate star. Yeah.
That's dope.
But not that many. But you're the only one that gives me good and plenty. But go ahead.
Good and plenty. Come on, man. Them Biggie flipped it. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Right.
Saw Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall.
Right.
Oh and then Keyshia Cole was like, "Let it go." Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
That was funky though, man.
With the singing.
What's the next one?
I do got one more. Let's see here. All right. It's like a diamond ring. It's a precious thing, and we never want to lose it. It's like a favorite song that we love to sing every time we hear the music. And we're in this love together. We got the kind that lasts forever.
We're in this love together. We got the kind that lasts.
You should have got it from there, because that's the chorus.
We're in this love together.
Uh-huh. Who's the artist?
Was that nobody I work with?
No, I don't think.
Hal Melvin?
Nope.
Who was that?
Al Jarreau.
Oh my God! You know what? No. You're absolutely. I blanked out. Of course, that's Al Jarreau. We're in this love together, and I work with Al on New York Undercover. He was one of the Natalie artists on one of the episodes.
Wow.
We're in this love together. We got the kind that lasts
forever.
I need to slap that one. Yeah.
Even the song though, you mentioned New York Undercover. That song is so distinct. I can hear it in my head with all the horns and everything. Like, it's pretty dope, man. You went from different generations, and you touch every generation.
You know, I started out, brother, avant-garde jazz. I mean, if you listen to my first stuff, my first album was the Al Cabolan, Land of the Blacks. You know, so I came from that, but I came through it, and I always believe you got to follow your heart. I never planned what my next sound was going to be. I always say creativity is like water. It takes the shape whatever you pour it into. So when I was moving from jazz, moving into, pop and then into funk, but it's got to be honest. And if you're honest, the audience will feel it, man. But I've had the privilege of working with great artists. I mean, start with Tawatha, Roberta, Stephanie, Phyllis Hyman,
great.
Joe Levert, Teddy Pendergrass, Donny Hathaway, Roberta Flack. So I know what it is, man. I know what it is when you hear that sound,
Yeah. How have you been? I guess during this pandemic, I know you're probably used to touring.
No,
things
brother, I haven't toured since I walked outside the house. But last time I toured, I think it was 1986.
Really?
Japan. Yeah.
Wow, I'm actually really surprised at that.
I am too. So, do you have anything that we should be expecting soon? Are you working on projects?
Well, we're gonna be working on. We're working on an album for Tawatha right now. That's the only project I'm interested in.
Oh,
nice.
That's great.
It's gonna be a monster.
Well, one thing I am expecting is to be invited to your Kwanzaa party, because I heard it's a stone cold blast. All of us.
Yeah, 50 years. Well, look, I'll make sure that happens, man. Because y'all got to come. You got to come, man.
You gotta come.
You
got to come, man. But you know what I love about this conversation? Went all the way around. I love that, man. This was like a 360,
Yeah,
I hate it when people ask me questions like, well, what you have for breakfast before you wrote You, Me, and He or something? No.
No, we want to know. We want the transparency.
Y'all are very serious. Y'all are very serious. And I love and respect that, man. Especially from younger people, man.
Absolutely.
I'm honored to have had a conversation with y'all, man.
Absolutely.
I think from this interview, we got a lot from you as well. We got nice history lessons, because I learned some things, even in regards to music and just you personally. I gained some knowledge, so I'm excited about that, and I can't wait, till we all can get into a studio so we can have.
Man. I would love it. I would love it, and then anytime y'all call, I'm there.
Yeah,
and you can bring Miss Tawatha too.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be great. I'm sure she'd be fine with that.
Yeah, man. We love these conversations. I remember talking to you a couple years ago. I interviewed you a while ago, and you said Juicy put all your kids through college, and I was just like, yo.
Well, that was kind of a joke. That's kind of a joke. Actually, the closer I get to you did.
The fact that it's one song can do that,
right?
Is just amazing, man. About your songwriting.
That was my entree into contemporary popular music, man. And what an entree.
If it was Juicy, I would have believed it, because I believe Juicy is probably older than Jinx.
Is what?
It's probably
older than Jinx.
Probably older than Jinx.
It is older than you, bro.
Yeah, because I mean the Biggie one came out over 20 years ago. So when did
It came out in 1983.
83.
Oh, see, I was 1 year old. I'm
Yeah,
telling
you
my
did?
age.
So that's 36, 37 years old. It's older than me.
Wow.
Yes. So
It's older than you.
but you still juicy, brother.
I was 8. I was 8. I'm the OG. I was 8 years old.
But there it is. And look, and that song would never have gotten to what it was without that voice, the lead singer, Tuatha. She's just,
Absolutely not.
just anybody couldn't sing that and deliver it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like that.
Not like
Definitely kudos to you, Queen, Miss Tuatha.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Any parting thoughts, guys?
Just much appreciations and respect.
Yeah, just one final thought, and I'm sorry because I was off for like 20 minutes because of my internet. But I want to ask you,
that was technology, okay?
Yes.
What do you think about the so now the NBA is going to restart later on this month, and one of the things that they said between the NBA and the NFL that they're going to seriously consider, and the NFL said they're going to do it, play the Black national anthem before the games. Do you think that that's just a smoke screen, or do you think that that's a real step in the right direction?
I think we got to be careful about sound matches substance. I mean, and symbolism over substance. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know the words to the National Black Anthem, and most of us don't. Not all 3 verses, because
not all 3 verses.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's very racist that they cut out. But overall, I think the NBA, more than any other professional sport, has the most conscious leadership. I mean, LeBron. From the players to the executives. And my younger sister is so deep that you said that. She was just over here visiting me Sunday, and Krista Chen. She works for the NBA Players Association. She's been with them for 30 years, and she just was more concerned about keeping everybody safe because we all know Florida right now is exploding with corona.
Yes.
Right.
And if something happens to 1 or 2 of those, so it's a very delicate line they got to walk, and I don't know how you keep 20, 22-year-old very virile young men enclosed in a bubble for 2 months without something happening.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at that. We've taken this virus way too lightly. It's a very serious thing, man. A lot of people have died. And unfortunately, if we continue to act like it's not as serious as it is, a lot more will die. And I'm specifically talking to Black and brown people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
This thing's a monster, man. And it ain't over.
Nope. And I see
it's not.
people who are really, really laxed about this. And I feel like
I've lost 5 people I know, man.
Really?
Yeah.
and that's exactly my point that I was
hear that.
If it hasn't affected them personally, then they don't think it's real, or they think they're invincible. They haven't lost a grandmother or a cousin or anything. Like they're not immune to the coronavirus. They're immune to, like you said, killing each other. But when it comes to the virus, like all you have to do is, something simple as wearing a mask. You guys can't even abide by that.
Then you see, look, and get back to the point y'all made. Look what Trump's doing with that. He's making that a political thing. Oh, it's my freedom. I mean, I should be free to wear it or not.
Yeah. Coming from the top office, it's so ridiculous.
No, but you know what? It's ridiculous, but it's a plan. Remember this. Don't look at the puppet. Always look at the puppeteer.
Look at the puppeteer.
That's who's okay.
Yep.
Best metaphors ever.
See, that's that stuff. That's that
analogies ever.
stuff.
I'm telling you. Wow, it's been a pleasure to have you.
It's all mine, man. And like I said,
thank you so much.
Anytime, man. Y'all just holler. I would love to be with them. Be with y'all, man. And I bring T and I will do it together the next time. And we'll
absolutely, man.
We'll talk.
Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Sister,
thank you so much.
Much respect. Much respect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
James Mtume.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
If you all missed it, you missed a great conversation. Guys, that was so good. Thank you all for sticking with us all night. It's been another great night of Root Access Live. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm still
The
excited.
OGs, I love the OGs, man. I mean,
do.
a wealth
Telling
of
you, man.
knowledge and information, and it's not even just about music, but it's just about just world stuff, and you know, things that they've lived through and a different perspective, man. I love talking to the OGs. So big shout out to James and Mtume, man. Yeah, dope.
Absolutely. Again, thank you all for tuning in. It's been another great show. We hope to see y'all next Thursday. It's Root Access Live, y'all.
Share this broadcast.
Please.